Hello once again. Yesterday we discussed the fluke meter, the best multimeter. As far as an automotive, what do you need in a multimeter? And what don't you need in a multimeter? As you see over here, we usually measure obviously DC voltage. The battery is DC, everything is DC. The alternator is AC, but it is rectified to DC. This example, like I said, this is AC volts. The channel is Joe Electronics Schematics for Auto, and yesterday we spoke about this is an RMS meter, like every other meter is RMS. For make things much simpler, sometimes you need these buttons over here. Minimum maximum is an important one that I feel you need in automotive. When you crank the car, your car battery usually goes to what? About 10 volts, 10.5 volts. With the minimum maximum function, you can see it. Now, since I'm not in the car over here, I'm measuring output of an outlet, AC obviously. Let's press minimum maximum. For a second. Okay, hold on. Okay, it's recording. Maximum. This is the maximum value that right now, an AC voltage that it is measuring. Now, if we put it on minimum, you see minimum is 119. What's the average? That's the average value. Again, record, maximum. 120.4, and it's going to keep on scanning to look for the highest one. So let's say it'll go up to 120, 122. It'll give you 122 as the maximum. Again, the minimum, press the button again, is 119. What's the average between the two that we just talked about? 120. So for a car battery, when it goes from 12 volts, 12.6, right? What am I going to see? First of all, I'm going to see 12.6. Okay? Then it's going to go do what? It's going to go down to about how much? 10.6, 10.5, whatever, right? That's going to be what? The minimum. And I made a video about this, and you can see it on the channel, Joe Electronics Audio. So we're going from 12.6 to about 10.5 volts. And what happens after that? It goes to what? The alternator. Then you're going to go to about 14 volts. So let's go over the range again. 12.6, 10.5, 10 volts, and that'll be what? The minimum. So if you want to make sure if your battery is correct, using this function on the minimum that I just showed you, you should have about 10.6, 10.5 volts, more than 9.6 volts on your car battery. And is the alternator working? It's going to go right back up to 14 volts or 13.5 volts, or if it has a temperature compensator, might be higher in the winter than that voltage. It doesn't matter. So the range will be 12.6, 10 volts, back to 14. What's the maximum value that I should see here? 14. What's the minimum? 10, 10.6. Therefore, this function to me is very, very important. Let's go again. Okay. The hold button. The hold button is, like we said before, is important. You will not find this on most meters. So if you have one from Craftsman or from obviously from Home Depot, whatever, or the other type, hold, minimum, maximum, you'll not find. Continuity, you might find. Continuity, see the little beep? You might find on those meters, and it is valuable because you don't want to keep on looking at the meter if you have continuity. So, hold means I take away the probe, and it'll still give me the measurement. So, let's say I'm in a crowded space. I'm measuring a mass airflow sensor or a map sensor, right? Obviously, the car has to be on. What happens? I'm close to the belt, I'm close to the pulleys, a little risky. Well, that's the only way you're going to measure voltage is by the car being on. So what can I do? I tap it with the probe. I put it on hold. That means it'll hold that measurement. If that measurement is supposed to be 12 volts, I tap it, take away the probe, because it's obviously it's a crowded area over there where the belts and everything are. It's a safety thing. Take away, and it'll still show me 12 volts. Why? I put it on hold. If I don't put it on hold, it's not in memory. What does that mean? Take away this. What happens? I lose the measurement, right? You don't want that. Okay? Now, the question was asked, how come you always see all these fluctuations? Is there something wrong with the meter? No, this is auto range. You do not see over here a range, a selector for 220 volts, 200 volts, 2000 volts. Like I said yesterday, in my prerequisite over here, you only see, just put on volts DC, volts AC, and let it do its work. Question of a viewer, why he has the same meter? Why does it keep on seeing all these numbers, digits going up? Well, that's because the signals in the air, AC volts, is being detected. This is like an antenna. These probes are like an antenna, believe it or not. So whatever is in the air, it could be volts, it could be millivolts, it'll detect it, and this is what you're seeing here, the display. There's nothing wrong with the meter. It's just detecting whatever signals it catches in the air, like an antenna. Okay? So I hope that helps. And remember, try to get a good meter if you're going to be serious about dedicated to the craft. You're going to school or whatever. This is the best meter in the industry, and this is the older version, 83. I made videos about the upgraded one, which is about $500, $600 meter. No need to get that much to spend that much, but you for sure online, if you look at these type of meters, I'm sure you could get it for under $100. This is not a new one, but by any stretch of the imagination. Again, very important, the hold function for memory, minimum, maximum, continuity, volts AC, and every meter obviously has volts AC, amps, and what did we speak about yesterday? We like to get 10 amps so we can measure current. See 10 amps? This one is amps. 10 amps. Usually they go about 10 amps. Most meters go for 10 amps. You won't find too many for 20 amps. So if you're going to shop out there for a meter, please, this has something called input impedance, where if you measure a current, a circuit, it does not load down the circuit, meaning this is about 10 million ohms input impedance. If you put a meter across to measure voltage across a circuit, if that input impedance of that meter is low, your circuit values will be off. So instead of measuring 12 volts on a mass airflow sensor, I'll measure 10 volts or 9 volts. Right? Thinking, bad mass airflow sensor or computer wire going to it or something. No, you have a bad meter. This will not load down. If it's supposed to measure 12 volts, it'll measure 12 volts. The best of the industry, accepted worldwide as the standard for automotive, for anything. You can use a snap-on multimeter. Great. This has the most functions, the most accuracy, and that's what you need. Anyway, thanks for watching. Please go to my channel, Joe Electronic Schematics for Auto. You'll see more videos of hands-on. Thanks for watching.